This is Michael Virati and Sofia Shilimindri from Jumpstart Monday. Yet another episode, Sofia, yet another Monday. How you doing?
Yes, I'm very happy to be here with everyone.
Happy to be here with you as well. Guys, I hope you're having a productive Monday so far. We are broadcasting live on LinkedIn and YouTube. And please let us know in the chat if we're also broadcasting live on Facebook as we encountered some problems early morning. So you can let us know. What are we talking about? Is how to become a 2 times better communicator. If you're a manager, a leader, or an aspiring manager or aspiring leader, and how to become more effective and efficient in your communication. You can also be a trainer, training your internal teams or your external teams. You will benefit from what you have to hear today. And if you missed the rest of the series, please do go back and we will provide links in each and every episode with the previous episode so you can watch them. I'll say good morning, Sophia, if you allow me, to George, because he's always first. And he's from Facebook. He's sending his comment from Facebook. George, good morning. I hope you're doing well, my friend. At the end of the episode, Sophia, we will go, please remind me to show the winner from our previous episode. If you want to become a winner, just share this episode now or when you're watching the recording. So shall we start, Sophia?
Let's go.
Tip number 5, guys. We already talked about 4 tips to become a 2 times better communicator. Tip number 5 is the following. Use numbers and statistics in your presentation or when you're addressing your internal teams. So, Sophia, the question comes to you. Why do you think we should be using numbers and statistics when addressing our teams?
I think using numbers makes people believe us, gives us credibility because it shows that we know what we are talking about. So if, for example, we say that 22%, we have a 22% profit improvement since last year, then people will know, she made her research, she knows what she's talking about. What else do you think it means?
I totally agree with you. And I'll say that I've seen leaders who are very vague. They stand up during the Christmas gala dinner and they say, last year we've done very well. And this year we want to do better. But what is last year very well? Is it an 11% increase in turnover with 3% profitability increase? And this year, shall we aim for an 11 or 12% with 3.5% profitability increase by not discounting a lot? Giving direction to your people makes them more aware, more targeted on what they need to do and more alert. And also what gets measured gets done. And for people to be able to measure it, you shouldn't be vague in your statements. And Sophia, I've seen a lot of leaders which I coach one-on-one or mentor, or leaders that we've seen on YouTube discussing and being very, very vague. Some of them are scared to mention numbers. Some of them do not want full transparency. I think this is the age of full transparency, and this is the age and the time with artificial intelligence that we must be very, very specific.
Exactly. And I love how you said that numbers give us direction on where we need to go. Do you think that numbers are important for speakers as well?
Very important, Sophia, because if you want to make your audience gullible or if you want to make your audience leaning forward, you need to know your numbers. If it's a small group of people, let's say an internal gathering, you should know exactly by the exact number where they stand on each and every topic, on each and every issue. But if it's a larger gathering, like when the Reflect Technological Conference was, and I took the stage with 1,000 people in the audience back in 2019, I asked the organizers, sometimes you ask, sometimes you do a small gallop, and around 70 to 75% were ardent supporters of artificial intelligence and technology. Around 12 to 15% were very against technology and artificial intelligence, and they were scared that they might lose their jobs to artificial intelligence and technology, or they didn't believe in that, or they thought they would take over our minds, and the rest were indecisive. So in order not to alienate my audience, because I had the numbers and the statistics, I took them on a journey without alienating them, without making statements at the beginning to alienate one of the two groups. I'm not saying go against what you believe in, but at least keep them on that journey until they listen to you. One of my friends, Stavros Galatariotis, was in the group of 12 to 15%. But as soon as he heard the speech and 15 minutes passed, he started thinking, should I give artificial intelligence a chance? Should I listen in and see if this can help me and aid me in my business, in my personal life? And that's the reason why also, Sophia, as you correctly asked, we should have numbers and statistics as trainers, and we should make good use of them.
That's incredible. And I imagine that because you knew the objections of your audience, you prepared relevant examples so you can pass your point of view.
Because I already mentioned this in previous episode, I want to mention it again. Yes, there were relevant examples, and some people can see it on YouTube. They can see the speech. And Sophia, today I think we have 2 proverbs, not 1 proverb like every time. So please feel free to tell us what's the proverb for today when it comes to numbers.
Yeah, I found this funny. It says, numbers don't lie, women lie, men lie, but numbers don't lie. And I think that sums up what we were talking about before.
Excellent. So guys, don't lie. At least use numbers if you don't want to lie. Very good. So let's go to our next tip, Sophia. Our next tip is a crucial tip. I don't see many leaders, managers using it. And especially, and I'm going to go back to Reflect, I saw some brilliant minds at Reflect in 2019. Also, I saw them in 2020. And they were brilliant in what they've done, what they are doing, artificial intelligence, computers, difficult concepts, but they're not using analogies and metaphors to drive their point home. So, Sophia, my question to you before we go on and explain what's a metaphor, what's an analogy, why do you think we should be using metaphors and analogies as trainers, as speakers, as managers, or as leaders?
I think it helps us understand the situation better if we create some sort of parallel thinking in our minds towards something more simple. For example,
I love how you said it. Very good. Yes.
Yeah. For example, I did a speech some time ago, and I remember we talked about it, where I had to talk to a group of entrepreneurs and talk to them about building their team. And you told me, instead of going into, the theory and presenting slides, just give them a few stories that they can understand. And it was a great advice, and it helped me a lot to get to the point across. And we still talk about it.
Very good. So stories as well. So now let's go first to metaphors, and then we go to analogies. So guys, I'm putting it up on the screen so you can see it. A metaphor is a figure of speech that directly compares one thing to another for rhetorical effect. So if you cannot clearly grasp one of the concepts, in this case, the example we're going to be showing you is just before England decided to leave the European Union. They were debating and discussing whether England should be leaving the European Union. It was after the referendum, but it is a topic that some people will understand it very well, but some others won't. So in this case, the Prime Minister of England, Boris Johnson, just before England went out of the European Union, was talking to a reporter about England exiting or not exiting the European Union. This is what Boris Johnson said by using a metaphor. Let's see it.
Chance that negotiations can start properly with the EU on this issue unless and until the EU thinks that you are safe, i.e. that Parliament's not going to throw you out in September.
Well, let me give you a metaphor. I swam around that rock this morning, okay? Now, from here, that huge rock there, from here you cannot tell that there is a gigantic hole in that rock. There is a way through. And my point to the EU...
Did you go through?
my point to the EU
is there's a
way through. But you can't find the way through if you just sit on the beach.
Excellent. You can't find the way through if you just sit on the beach. So that metaphor that Boris Johnson used with the rock and the European Union was a clear metaphor saying that if we don't get our hands dirty, if we don't swim and find out, if we don't go around the corner, we will never know. And that's exactly how he used the metaphor in order to give a better picture and create a better picture for the listener or for the reader to understand. So now, Sophia, let's move on to an analogy. What's an analogy? It's very similar, but it's not the same. An analogy is showing how two things are alike, and two things that have nothing to do with each other. In this case, they might have had some comparison. In the case of analogy, they don't. And I'm going to use an example from eToro. eToro is a Forex company, and they used real live actors in the heart of London giving out donuts for free to passers-by. And we're going to be looking at how they use the analogy for people to understand a very complicated industry that they're not getting into, they're not charging any commission. Let's see how they've done it. Let's go and see it, Sophia.
What the hell?
What the
What just happened?
Oh, hell no.
One donut stand, 5 hidden cameras, 2 actors, 100% happiness.
Fresh made donuts today.
Or is it?
Fancy a donut?
Gonna have jam, please.
Cream donut, please.
What the hell?
What the
What just happened?
Oh, hell no.
Did you just bite that?
You won't even notice, it's very small.
I wish a new one without the bite.
That's my commission.
It's out of my donut.
I was expecting 100% of a donut.
What are you doing?
Just how the world works.
Shut the up, I don't want that.
That's disgusting. No way.
Take this back.
If I pay for something, I should get the full thing.
We have to take a bit of commission, otherwise...
See, she's walked away.
Don't let commissions bite into your portfolio. Join eToro and invest in 100% stocks.
So, Sophia, have you seen how they use the analogy of not charging any commissions? People get upset if you bite into their profits. So they're not charging any commission, and they've done it in an amazing way using a donut and some actors.
Yeah, and it's something you would never think about before. Why would someone bite into your food? It sounds disgusting, but commissions they became something normal.
It's even more disgusting when they bite into your commissions. That's what they meant. So use analogies, use metaphors, especially if your topic is very complicated. I remember one guy, Pantelis Foulis, came to the Address for Success workshop that we're doing on public speaking. He wanted to talk about blockchain, and it was a very complicated topic at the time. So he began explaining what blockchain is, what Bitcoin is, and people got very confused. It was around 2 years ago. Sophia, Pantelis was in front of his times. So I told him, why don't you use an analogy and go like this? My grandmother used to keep her money underneath her mattress. My mother used to keep her money in the bank. Where do you think we will be keeping our money going into the second half of the 21st century? So by making an analogy of the bank and keeping money and saving your money somewhere, people started to understand what he was talking about, or at least they leaning forward to listen to Pantelis explaining his Bitcoin and blockchain philosophy. So very good.
And I think Pantelis is one of our biggest fans here.
I don't think he's here today, but he will watch it later on. So, Sophia, we promised another proverb for our friends and fans. So please show us the proverb, which has to do with metaphors. Here it is. Fishing is a good metaphor for life, guys. You do your preparation, you do your thinking, you put your bait, and you wait confidently that you've done your groundwork. But a lot of life is luck. So yes, fishing is a good metaphor for life, trying to catch the fish, doing all your preparation, because if you fail to prepare, you're prepared to fail. But a lot of life is luck. And a lot of public speaking, a lot of talking to your teams, even internally for an internal meeting, has to do with preparation. You have to do your thinking, you have to prepare, and in order to put your bait out, you have to be prepared in advance to know exactly what you're going to talk about. And the best way to know what you're going to talk about and encompass everyone is to know your numbers as well. So, Sophia, let's go on to, before we announce the winner, and go to some of the comments and show some of the comments. The book that we are suggesting today doesn't have to do with analogies or metaphors or numbers, but it's very relevant to this because it creates creates pictures. A presentation or an internal presentation for that matter, or a keynote, is not complete if your slides are not up to the task. And one of the books that I truly devoured and has helped me a lot, it has helped also my wife Christine, who's a presentation expert, slides expert, is Presentation Zen by Gar Reynolds, an American, Sophia, who's living in Japan. And this is highly suggested. Buy this book on Amazon. It has been written many years ago, but this guy knows how to simplify slides. Whilst you are talking about metaphors, whilst you're talking about analogies, whilst you're projecting your numbers, the slides will come to your aid. Yes?
That's amazing. And maybe we can talk about slides in another episode.
Yes, we should, because it's not complete. Before we announce our winner, let's look at some of our comments. Nicolas Papadopoulos says, good morning from Dubai. Nicolas, it's been long since we last spoke. Hope you're doing well. Hope the family is doing well. Georgia Stavru Maras has been an ardent supporter. She's always here. Good morning, Sophia, as well. George Ioannou says, what a gentleman. Desislava Evangelou says, good morning. And also our friend Katerina Dimitriou says, good morning. So, Sophia, can you announce our winner for the Stand Up, Stand Out online course? Guys, if you share this episode, you get a chance to go into the draw. So our winner for the Stand Up, Stand Out online course is Maria Danilaki. Maria, thank you for sharing the episode. Please get in touch with myself or Sophia. If you get in touch with myself, it's Michael and Michael Garardi. If you get in touch with Sophia, just substitute Michael with Sophia, and we will send you your gift, which is the Stand Up, Stand Out online course on presentations and public speaking. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Flying off to Greece tomorrow for business, and then back on Thursday, because on Friday we have a speech for 250 people for Prime Insurance. And we will be back with you with another episode next Monday. Have a productive week ahead.
Bye, everyone.